A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord and making headlines. Big wins for band leader and designer Kevin Small as well as entertainer Lead Pipe all on Kadooment Day. Information security and confidentiality, the main talking points as Parliament debates the Data Protection Bill. Emotional intelligence training to better equip teachers and administrators. And in sports, T20 World Champs, the Windies whitewashed by India.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
And in our top story, the curtain has come down on Crop Over 2019 with Kadooment Day wrapping up over at the Kensington Oval. Our Lisa Broom looks back at what has been a successful jump up.
This year's big win means a hat trick for Kevin Small and his band Fifth Element Mass. The 27-year-old copped the Robert Weeks Award for Best Festival Designer. The band, the Golden Coast at Kadooment, picked up several other awards, including the most colourful small band, along with the best individual male and female titles, and Flag Person of the Year, as well as the historical and traditional awards. Small says the experience has been overwhelming and refreshing.
At this age, I would dare say I use inspiration from many different places. Personal experiences, though maybe limited at such an age. There are other things around me when I travel. There are things that may inspired me aesthetically, and then using topics around Barbados that that I can probably try to teach a topic or a concept to someone, or encourage and inform them of different things that may be happening around them.
With regards to next year, he says the concept for the juniors has already been decided and he started to work on ideas for the adults. A veteran band leader Betty West's Festival Time was awarded Large Band of the Year, the Vision 2020 Award, the George Deere Award for Best Band on the Road, and the BMA Brands of Barbados Award for Large Band. Crave the Band was named the Best Party Band. Small Band of the Year was awarded to Gwyneth Squire's Kadooment Band, and Most Colourful Large Band, Aura Experience. Now, of course, the revelers need music to take them down to the Mighty Griner Highway, and their top choice was Sometimes by Lead Pipe.
Keeping it simple, yeah. Girl, you already have a man, but I can be your son.
That song was adjudged Tune of the Crop, earning the singer $7,500. Lil Rick took second and third spots with It Ain't Me.
It ain't me that got your girl. It ain't me that wrecked your world. But you follow back mine like a mockingbird. I fly down for me name like flocking birds.
And Jam Down. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
And police are reporting a relatively incident-free Crop Over 2019. In fact, Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Rodney Innes says there were no reports of major incidents, especially over the last 24 hours when parties and other activities reached fever pitch. As Inspector Innes explains, police responded to 3 minor incidents.
One involving a female who sadly suffered a fractured leg. We had another person who was in some difficulty in the hot pot, and also we had a couple incidents of bruising for persons in the band. Nothing major. All 3 issues were dealt with. We're happy how they were resolved.
And Inspector Innes says on Kadooment Day, the thousands of spectators who lined the streets from Warrens to the Mighty Griner Highway were especially well behaved. Well, government is planning to incorporate technology to improve the level of care and patient diagnoses at public institutions. Word of this from the Health Minister, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic.
We are moving in a direction where in the very near future that consultants at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital would be able to read X-rays from, let's say, Winston Scott, or the St. John, the polyclinic at the David Thompson Health and Social Services Complex, so that they can give advice to the physicians who are on duty at those locations without the patients having to go to receive that kind of information or advice or treatment.
And the health minister was speaking during today's debate of the data protection bill in the lower house. He stresses it is essential, especially in his ministry, where confidentiality is necessary.
So that the security of health records, medical records, must be placed at the top of the priority list when we're dealing with information, with data. And this is something that we would want to look at. But coming closer to home in terms of health care, this bill, this data protection bill, is important because it is directly connected to the way patient information in this country is captured, stored, and shared between entities.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Committees Dr. Sonia Brown is hoping for major changes to the outpatient clinic system at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. She says they should accompany any data protection rules which are being introduced.
You are given 2 appointments, a 9 o'clock and a 2 o'clock appointment or a 1 o'clock appointment. So 100 people have a 9 o'clock appointment, another 100 have a 2 o'clock appointment. Believe it or not, in 2020, this is happening. It makes absolutely no sense. You risk a whole day missing at work, which in my case, I did miss a whole day at work because of this. The government's work, by the way. People have to call in sick. People with young children have to be away from them. But there must be a better system, and the computer and data protection, data dissemination can only help with this.
Well, Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Dale Marshall says the data protection bill lays the foundation for the island's digital thrust. He notes it will be beneficial, especially when the new identification cards are rolled out.
We are speaking about a new ID card, for example, which may have biometric data associated with it. And we're hoping that that new ID card will be able to do a raft of other things, banking, bus travel on buses, post offices, all kinds of government services we're hoping to be able to have on that card, medical data and so on. Now, if we as a government are looking to set up a framework which will see a concentration of citizens' data on a particular platform, available on a particular card, then it is incumbent on us as well to say to the average Barbadian, your data is protected.
And with many reports of identity theft and hacking of social media accounts, Minister of Culture and the Creative Economy Minister John King believes that the last administration dropped the ball by failing to introduce data protection legislation. He thinks it should have been done over a decade ago.
I'm happy that we've had the foresight to get it done, but I'm also very disappointed that this would not have been done a while ago. In fact, since around 2008, this should have been done.
Dozens of teachers and administrators will enter the classrooms come September, better equipped to react to challenging situations. They are the latest beneficiaries of training in emotional intelligence, or EI. Training got underway this morning at the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology, as we hear in this report from Kishmar St-Just.
Emotional intelligence is defined as the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships. Dozens have already been trained by EQ Barbados, and in another 3 weeks, 30 more Barbadians will benefit from the training. Founder of EQ Barbados, Tony Olton, is confident the use of emotional intelligence will change the direction Barbados is headed. EQ is on a quest to train thousands in EI.
If we could have 50,000 Barbadians serving as a catalyst, demonstrating high levels of social awareness, self-management, self-awareness, empathy, and social skills, then we could be the catalyst that in 5 years' time could shift and make for a new Barbados. We could ignite a new awareness with greater personal and interpersonal effectiveness. I personally set the task of training 500, and those 500 will in turn train out each 100 persons.
The training in emotional intelligence has been endorsed by Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training Santia Bradshaw. She foresees positive outcomes from the training. The minister also points to the arrangement from this training as an example of how progress can be made despite resource constraints.
Such was the interest, the passion with which he certainly felt about this exercise, and certainly so did I, that Mr. Olton has gladly accepted the challenge to be able to undertake the course and underwrite the course to allow all of you as teachers, administrators to participate in this exercise over the course of the month. So while we may not have the money, I keep saying to people there are simple ways, there are simple connections, there are synergies that we can make with people who are passionate about education to be able to get the job done.
Staff members from the Ministry of Education are likely to benefit from emotional intelligence training as well. Kishma Senjis, CBC News.
At a time when more and more women are coming forward to openly speak about domestic abuse, Advocates Against Domestic Abuse, formerly known as the SAVE Foundation, has received a timely donation from the Rotaract Club of Barbados West. President Tamelka Jackman presented that check to the head of the Advocates Against Domestic Abuse, Barbara Daniel Goddard. The funds were raised at their annual beer and barbecue earlier this year. Ms. Jackman says she hopes that the donation will not only aid in the day-to-day operations of the charity, but also assist the victims with their necessities.
For our Rotaract year 2018 to 2019, we would have raised funds through our project, the Beer and Barbecue, for the Advocates Against Domestic Abuse.
Tell me a bit more about it, how much you raised, why you guys decided to get involved in raising this money.
Okay, we raised $1,600 to donate to them. We wanted to reach out to an organization in the community that does good work, so we chose that organization for the year 2018 to 2019.
Regional news now, and health officials in the Bahamas are looking to get a better idea of how deadly non-communicable diseases like diabetes and cancer have become in the country. The findings are expected to be released soon. Our news reports.
According to Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, the ministry is still compiling NCD mortality figures from 2017 to 2018. However, Dr. Sands says it's no secret that there have been a tsunami of NCD-related deaths.
As we try to stop this tsunami, the problem is that we have not turned the tide. There's some bright signs. The data that you've asked for, we are not yet done compiling. That would be the 2019 STEP survey. That will tell us where we stand with obesity. Is it more than, between obesity and overweight, more than 80%, almost a world leader? Hypertension, diabetes, world leader. The Bahamas it stands out with non-communicable diseases.
The Ministry of Health is conducting the 2019 STEP survey in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization on 7 islands to assess health habits and risk factors for the diseases. STEP is a simple, standardized method for collecting, analyzing, and disseminating data in World Health Organization member countries. The household survey, similar to the national census, collects information on the health habits of Bahamians and their risk factors for chronic, non-communicable diseases.
A final determination on the house-to-house registration case brought before Guyana's Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire will be made next Wednesday. We hear more in this Newsroom Guyana report.
Attorney Chris Ram on July 22nd filed an injunction in the High Court challenging the constitutionality of the ongoing house-to-house registration exercise. Chief Justice Acting Roxanne George Wiltshire on Monday concluded hearings in the case. In his closing argument, Ram's attorney Anand Nandlal asked the Chief Justice to set a time frame for national elections in her ruling, which will be delivered on August 14th. Alluding to the litigations which followed the passage of the December 21st no-confidence motion, Nandlal argued that the lack of sternness from the court has led to the prolonging of the issue. Speaking with the media after the hearing, Nandlall said the court should not exercise restraint in this ruling.
The CCJ said the same thing, that the Constitution must be obeyed and that elections must be fixed within the constitutional time frame. But the executive is simply disobeying it and simply trampling upon the clear language of the Constitution. And that is what I'm telling the judge, that for how long will we not bell the cat? How long are we going to engage in all kind of diplomatic and intellectual exchanges when we are not belling the cat? We are not speaking about the elephant in the room. And I beseech this court not to act with restraint again. We are here because the court acted with restraint since January.
The Attorney General Basil Williams and his team of lawyers, which included Solicitor General Nigel Hawke, argued that it is not the court's place to set a date for elections. The AG said the matter is now a political one, which lies with the political leaders to come to an agreement on a plausible date for elections.
In Belize now, opposition leader John Briceno and his driver were injured in a traffic accident. He was reportedly en route to Belize City, as we hear from Channel 5.
As vehicular traffic approached mile 37 on the Philip Golson Highway in Rayburn Ridge Village, an extensively damaged blue Toyota Prado SUV could be seen off the right-hand side of the road when traveling to Orange Walk. Several yards away was an Albion passenger bus parked on the shoulder of the highway and a green Toyota RAV4 with damages to its rear in the bushes in a ditch, while police officers were processing the scene. Lorena Vasquez says she had just arrived home and heard the sound of the collision and ran out to the shocking scene.
I came outside when I saw a vehicle was turned over, and then I came closer to the vehicle and I saw that it was John Briceno coming out of the vehicle along with his driver. I saw he had an injury in his head and he was bleeding a lot. That's what I can tell. Someone assisted him with some blankets and for him to cover his injury, and then he was taken to Orange Walk.
PUP party leader John Briceno received an injury to his head and was rushed to the Northern Medical Plaza in Orange Walk town. His driver, Edwin Hill, sustained superficial wounds and complained of chest pains. He too would later be taken for medical treatment. Both Briceno and Hill are stable.
Two countries have issued travel warnings to their citizens about the United States following two mass shootings that killed 31 people. Now, both Venezuela and Uruguay warned their residents about violence and hate crimes in the U.S. Uruguay's Office of Foreign Ministry issued an advisory yesterday saying that citizens should take precaution amid the growing indiscriminatory violence, specifically hate crimes, including racism and discrimination when traveling to the United States. The alert noted that other factors such as the indiscriminate possession of firearms by the population and the impossibility of authorities to prevent these situations were among some of the reasons travelers need to be particularly wary of highly populated areas or events. Now, Venezuela's Foreign Ministry office also issued a warning to its residents yesterday, saying Venezuelans should postpone their travels or exercise caution when traveling as a result of the events in El Paso, Texas and Dayton, Ohio.